We often set goals without thinking about what we're really doing. It's usually the flavor of the month or what we're thinking about at the time. And whilst that's not always a bad thing, it's worth having a deeper think about your goals before you set them. So, with it being November, with it being the appropriate time of the year, welcome back to Body Beyond the Scales, a podcast that gets you stronger and more confident in your body through building better habits. And we're going to be talking all about what to do before you set your goals in this episode. And I was really debating about what to do for this week's episode, and I've been thinking a lot about my goals and what I'm going to be aiming for the new year. So I thought this is a really appropriate time to kind of get this in and to help you do the same thing. So in this episode, I'm basically going to be giving you the lowdown and everything to think about to make sure that you set your goals up in the right way for the new year so that you are basically, this is possibly going to be the easiest way that you ever set goals, but it is going to require a little bit of groundwork. So this is going to be a quite a practical episode, and I would like for you to get either your notes app up or a journal, or if you're out and about, like just basically plan on reflecting on this stuff later. But I would like for you to think about doing some deeper work and like really getting into it. And even if that's just talking to another person about these goals and kind of like setting the stuff down together. Um, what I want to start off with basically is thinking about this year. So what has gone well in 2025? And the first thing I want you to start off by writing down is your 10 biggest wins. And these can be from anything. These can be in your personal life, your health and fitness, in your work, in your whatever. I'd actually advise going for more than this. I'd advise going for 20, 30, 40, 50 even, as many as you can. But I'm going to say a 10 at a minimum. So don't get to 5 and be like, I'm halfway there. 10's the minimum. Get these down. The more we can go into this with the energy of like, oh my God, I'm achieving so much already. Like I've achieved so much this year, the better you are going to feel about setting these goals and the better of a position that you are going to be in moving forwards. So start off by writing down your 10 biggest wins from this year. Then the next thing that I want you to do is look through those wins and figure out, how did you achieve them? Like, what is the common theme? What was the personality trait that you really learned into this year? What was the, what have you really focused on this year in order to achieve these goals? Then the next thing that I want you to ask yourself, is there anything that you want to do again in 2026? So out of all of these things that you've achieved, is there anything that you want to repeat again this year? So for me, by the end of the year, I will have completed 200 workouts. It was a goal that I also set last year, and it's probably a goal that I will be setting again next year. So again, that is going to be something that I will repeat. Is there anything that you want to do more of? So is there something that you're like, oh, actually, for example, with the 200 workouts, it might be that, oh, I've done 200 workouts this year, therefore I want to increase that to 250 next year, for example. So just having a think, what does that like look like? What does that mean? Like, and basically just making sure that if there's something that we're adding more in, is it feasible? And yeah, like, is there anything you want to be doing more? Right now, we're just kind of creating loose ideas. We're creating notes. We're creating like a reflection of the previous year. What I would like for you to do is set up a note alongside of this, whether it's a separate one or even just pop down in the note if you are doing it in your notes app, and it just be like goal ideas for 2026. And every time you get something that comes up, so if it's something that you want to do again, something you want to do more of, or the last question that I'm going to ask you in a second, write that down in the note. You're not committing to this right now. This is just your idea generation, so that when it comes to your goals, you're not thinking, oh my God, what am I going to set as my goals? You've already got some ideas, and when you've thought of them, you're like, I had an idea the other day. Well, it's in there, it's locked in. We've got the details already. The next thing that I want you to ask yourself then is, anything that you want to do better? So we've said, is there anything you want to do more of? But rather than just doing more, is there anything we need to refine? Is it not a quantity issue that we want to increase, or something we want to increase in quantity? Or do we want to increase the quality of how we're doing something? This is such a great question to ask yourself, because a lot of the time we just go, more, 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 let's add more stuff in. Actually, what we need is to reduce what we're doing, or even like maintain what we're doing, and do things better and do things to a higher quality and a higher standard. That was one of my challenges for this year, is that I wanted to really focus on like precision and really focus on quality over quantity. And that's something I've really, really honed in on this year. And it's been so helpful for me. So the next thing that you're going to do, which you have like noted down from those questions, is a life audit, or as I stole this from Ali Abdul, he called it the wheel of life. But like, I've done life audits and I've kind of liked his way of doing it, so I've broken it down like this. Now, the way that he did it in his was he drew a circle, he split the circle into 3, and then he split those 3 parts into 3 again. You can do it like that. You can write it as a list. Doesn't really matter. But we've got 3 key areas in your life. We've got health, we've got work, and we've got relationships. Under health, we've got physical health, we've got mental health, and we've got spiritual health. And you could have those 3 areas mean whatever you would like them to mean. We've got work, and then under that section, we've got your mission, your money, and growth. And then in relationships, we've got family, friends, and romance. He also had an additional part to his circle. So he was like, outside of that, the overarching question is joy. How much joy am I feeling like I'm getting in my life right now? And the question is like, basically, out of 10, where would you rank these things? So I might be looking at my physical health right now and going, actually, I'm in pretty good shape at the moment. I'm really happy with where I'm at. I'm probably feeling like I'm a 7.5, 8 out of 10. And remember, your bar will always be getting raised. So if I was in my body how I am now compared to how I was or where I was like 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I would be like, what do you mean you're an 11? So like it's important to have context on this, is that like I'm sat at a 7 or 8 of where I am now. And that is great for where I'm at, but I want to keep pushing. But for me, 6 years ago, she'd be like, girl, this is an 11. Like you are fine. So give context to what you're doing and recognize that like where progress is being made. Mental health wise, I feel like I'm probably, in a very, very good place. I feel like I'm probably at about an 8 there. And then spiritual health wise, I feel like I'm probably, this is my lowest area, maybe a 6, 7 area. So that's where I'd be ranking myself on those. Then work, mission. So how driven and how much do you feel like you're making, say, like a difference with your job? Do you feel like you're aligned with what you want to do? Or is it kind of like, it pays the bills? It's all right if it is that, like you can do other stuff outside of work to align with your values if you want to do that. But mission can be, if you own your own business, like are you helping in the way that you want to help? And yeah, money, self-explanatory. You get the gist on that one. Where do you sit in terms of like your like finance at the moment, whether that's personal finance, whether that's the money that you earn from work, and so on. And then growth, I put this down as like brain growth, and or is it like career development? So are you moving in the direction that you want to be moving in, and are you learning? One thing that I've really found this year that I've loved doing is learning. So for me, I would say my mission this year, I would say I'm probably at an 8. Like again, I'm feeling pretty good about this. Money wise, I'm probably saying like, yeah, do you know what? I'm probably a good position, maybe a 7. And then growth, I'd say 9. I've had a great year on this. Like I feel like I've learned so much, especially within the last like 3 to 4 months. My brain feels huge right now. So yeah, like that's been a really, really positive aspect for me. Relationships wise, then you've got your family, your friends, and romance. So family, that includes things like, well, your kids, your partner can kind of include in that, but they're going to fall under romance. But your family and what that involves there, friends, and then obviously that's self-explanatory, and then romance is your partner, or it could be your dating life. So asking yourself, where do you rank on those? For me, family right now, I'd say probably about a 7. I could be seeing them a little bit more, but I am enjoying the time that I am getting to spend with them. Friends, I'd say probably a 6 on this one. I have not seen that many of my friends this year. So yeah, that will probably be something I will make an active effort to do more of in 2026. And then romance, I feel like Jules and I are having a good time, so I feel like you can always be doing better in a relationship, but I'm gonna rank that one as a 8.5. 9 seems more generous. I could definitely be taking her on more dates, but 8.5, 8.5. But don't tell Jules I said any of this. So, and then in terms of like joy at the moment, I'm getting a lot of pleasure out of my life at the moment. I'd probably say I'm at a 8.5, 9. 9 feels greedy, but yeah, probably a 9. And so going through those areas, so you can see for me there, spiritual is actually an area that I feel like I am not at my strongest. I am not religious. For me, spiritual health comes down to how much I feel like I'm doing reflective practice, how much I feel like I am like connected to myself, how much I feel like I am how I'm feeling like vibes wise within myself, and like everything feels aligned. For me, that's probably the area that feels slightly unaligned. Unaligned, is that right? Disaligned, whatever the correct grammar is there. So yeah, it's worth doing this because sometimes it highlights things that you don't know where you're at. But for now, it should just basically give you a good idea of where you're at. And again, rate those up 1 to 10, and that should give you basically a good spot. I revisit these every quarter and let those guide you on what to focus on for that next quarter. So every 3 months, you've got a new kind of goal to be aiming for. And then again, if any goals have popped out from here, so for me, it might be, okay, I want to make sure that I'm like journaling. It might be that I want to make sure that I'm meditating. It want to make sure that I'm like spending time away from my phone, like whatever that is. I'm going to be popping those down as goal ideas into my goal list. Then what we're going to do is move on to the next exercise. So what I want you to do now is just pause this. If you've not completed those tasks that we've just mentioned, so the reflections on 2025 and then the life audit, do those 2 now, because that'll leave you in a better position for moving on to the next bit. So Next up, we have got the Back to the Future exercise. Now, this is going to require you to do about 10 minutes of journaling, and yeah, I promise you it will really, really help. So, what I want you to do is write the journaling prompt out. It's X day that's exactly a year from now. Everything has gone perfectly. Here's what I've achieved. Here's what life looks like. And I want you to write down everything that life looks like. Write it in continuous prose. So tell me what life looks like. Tell me who you are now. What are you doing in your life? Where do you live? Who is with you? Who's involved in your life? Are you still seeing your parents? Are you still with the same partner? Are you engaged to the partner? Are you whatever? Um, how are you experiencing your life? Are you traveling? Are you doing whatever? Like, what things are you doing on a day-to-day basis? How do you feel about those things? And remember, this is if everything went perfectly. What have you achieved within the last year? And this, we're talking as though it's like November 2026 at this point. And then if you get stuck on any of these things over the next 10 minutes as you're writing, right, I've even, and then continue that sentence. So I've even done X. And that will get you really like, it will keep you writing on this. I've said 10 minutes, minimum of 10 minutes. Again, just keep going until the end of the 10-minute timer. Your hand might cramp. You might just keep going, basically. Just keep writing. Even if you feel like you've got nothing to write, keep writing and just see what comes out. And that should help. And then what I want you to do once you have finished this is go back through it and just highlight any goals that are jumping out to you. So if there's anything that's popped up and you're like, oh, okay, I didn't realize I wanted to go scuba diving next year. And like, just highlight that. And then that can go into your goals list that we're coming up with at the moment. Again, we're going to be using these ideas later on. We're not committing to them fully right now. We're going to just use those as inspiration later on. So we're just pulling the stuff out. So at this point, I want you to just basically do a mini like test, a bit of a temperature check. Has anything come up from the list and said from that Back to the Future task that we've just done there? Has anything just come up from that you don't think that you can achieve, or is scaring you a little bit or a lot of it? If the answer is yes, you're doing this right. Like, there should be things in there that scare you. There should be things in there that make you uncomfortable and make you think, oh, maybe I won't hit that. That's kind of scaring me, thinking about like what I'd have to do to get to that point. Like, those goals are good. If you've gone through that and you're thinking, nah, there's nothing really in there that's scaring me, or there's things in there that I don't think that I can achieve, or I think I can achieve everything on this list, think bigger, go bigger. And one thing that I did this year is I took the concept 10x is bigger than 2x. So rather than basically 2xing my goals and saying like how I'm going to double this year, I 10x'd my goals. So if you heard about my social media goals for this year, my goal was to 10x them basically. Although I mismatched this, I'm not quite sure why I thought I was going to do this year, but sure. But basically, for my TikTok following, I just hit 10,000 at the end of last year. So my goal was 100,000 for this year. And my goal for Instagram was I just hit 5,500, I think. So if I'd have 2x, so my 10x goal, sorry, was then to hit 50,000. I think it must have been about 5,000 I just hit then. But yeah, my goal was to hit the 50,000. So in both of those examples, if I'd have just set the goal to 2x, so just to double what I was doing, that would still been a huge goal, to go from 5,000 to 10,000 followers and to go from 10,000 to 20,000 followers. I set the goal to 10x. Now, I haven't achieved the 10x goal this year. I haven't achieved it as of yet. I'm not convinced I'm going to do it in the next 6 weeks, but we keep moving. But if I hadn't have set that goal, I wouldn't have exceeded them like the way that I have done. So I'm currently at 14,000 followers on Instagram, which means I've almost tripled it. So I've 3x'd it. And on TikTok, I am currently at about 37,000 followers. So again, I have 3.7x that, so almost 4 times that. So if I'd have just said I'm going to double my like things, which would have been a very like noble goal, like it's still a substantial amount of like stuff to do, I probably wouldn't have pushed as hard as what I have done to get to where I am now. Bear that in mind. Like, just think, like, where are these like 10x goals for you? Like, how, like, what are they? What do they look like? What are the scary things? What are the things that make you feel like, oh, I'm not sure I can do that? And don't be afraid to open those things up and like get those on your list. Again, we're not committing to them just yet, but we are getting them on our list so that we're feeling like about them. And I want you to feel like a little bit of nerves around them and a little bit of excitement. And yeah, like it's okay to set these big goals and fail, but I would rather always set a big goal and not hit it, but end up much higher up than what I would have done if I'd have never set that higher goal in the first place. And I think being scared to fail is a terrible excuse not to take action, and not to move in pursuit of something that you want. So just ask yourself there, like, what am I holding back from? Like, why do I feel scared to pursue these big goals? And I want you to get more audacious and think about the concept 10x is easier than 2x. So yeah. Now, we've done a lot of thinking there. We've done a lot of journaling. We've done a lot of like idea generation. What I want you to do is, again, just look through all of that there. If you come up with anything else is coming to mind, pop that in that goal list that we've got going on in your notes app. Now I want you to go for a walk without any headphones and disconnect. If you're already out and you're walking, you're listening to this, and just take your headphones out and you can pause me for a little bit. So 30 minutes, just disconnect. And I want you to like basically just let your thoughts go. And at least 30 minutes of walking should help to like open you up there and like allow for you to have like space to think. And that will be a really useful thing. So does anything else come to mind? Are there any other goals that are like popping up? And if there are, get them on the list. So we've now got this list and we should be adding up things. To be honest, if you're at this point and you've probably not got 10 to 15 goals already that you've started to see popping up, then I'd be quite surprised. So yeah. Then the next thing that I want for you to do is basically over the next few days is just keep cracking on and keep adding, like basically like adding to your list. So anything that pops up as you like say you, I don't know, fall asleep, you wake up in the next morning, you think, oh, maybe I do want to achieve that. Or as you're scrolling through social media and you go, oh, maybe I want to do that. Like, and finding these little things that basically inspire you and you're going, oh, maybe that's a goal for next year. Or actually, I've really been thinking I want to do this. Or, oh, I've just read a book and maybe I want to read more books in this genre next year. So asking yourself there, like, what can you do to like basically what other goals are popping up? What are you more like open to? The reason I want you to take some time is something to do with the reticular activating system. So basically, the reticular activating system is your filter in your brain that says, this is the stuff we're going to pay attention to. When we've just done all of this activity, your reticular activating system is now looking for goals. It's now looking for things. So you're going to be more open and receptive to seeing those things and filtering in things that you'll be more interested in. That's why I want you to take a little bit of time, like a few days, and I don't want you to set your goals straight away. I want you to come up with this brain dump list, basically, to just start generating like the ideas, because your brain is now thinking about looking for them on a subconscious level as well. So keep adding to that list. Now, when I want you to, after a few days have passed, like you can like week pass, and you don't have to set these goals in like any set amount of time. If they're going to be 2026 goals, I'd probably suggest setting them before 2026. But like we can have time. We've got time. That's why I'm releasing this episode now, because, well, I want you to have time to think about these things. So once you have a look at your list, I want you to just go through them and have a little bit of a filter on them and basically go, if you couldn't tell anybody else about these goals, would they still be your goals? So if you couldn't tell anybody else that you would achieve these goals, would they still be your goals? If you couldn't share it on social media, if you couldn't tell your partner, if you couldn't tell your friends, would they still be your goals? If the answer is yes, it's you where those goals are coming from. If you're not allowed to tell anybody else and that's making you think, I'm not sure I'm asked to do that anymore, then it is probably not from you. So go through that list and use that filter there and ask yourself, like, what's going on there? And if the answer's not, just reassess why. Like, why are you feeling like this? And like, why is that goal on there? And is there a variation of that goal that feels more appropriate to you? Or is it if the answer is like, oh, I wouldn't want to tell anybody else about it because I'd be scared, not good enough, that we're keeping that goal on there. That needs to be on there. Not good enough reason to get rid of it. So that's going to be it for this episode. It's obviously been a very thinky, very actionable and very practical episode. What I'm going to do is create another episode where I talk about how to like build these goals in. I'm possibly going to create a YouTube video on that, so it might be just on YouTube, but I will like tag it in the podcast show notes for one of the following episodes if I do just create it for YouTube. But what I want to do is basically make sure that you have a strategy to go through them. So I'm going to talk through, you can now basically, you've got your goals, they're going to start coming to you, they're going to be like more aware of them. And this is why it's the easiest way to like do your goals, because you're still going to start building up this list and then you can actually put them into tangible stuff. And what I'm going to talk about in that, like that next thing, whether it's YouTube or a podcast on a YouTube, will be basically how to create that into tangible goals, and make that into next steps. Yeah, and then basically how to filter from there and decide what we're going to be aiming for in 2026, and then yeah, how to achieve them. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to put it in the comments for the podcast episode, for the comments for the YouTube video. Like if you have any questions on anything on this, or feel free to ping me a message on Instagram. But otherwise, have an absolutely fantastic day, and happy thinking about your goals.